The space station hung at the edge of known territory, a place where laws softened and survival depended on strength, reputation, or fear. Ships from dozens of species docked there, each bringing their own rules, smells, sounds, and dangers. For most travelers, the station was loud and tense but manageable. For her, it was a nightmare. She stood near the wide transit corridor, her body rigid, her breathing shallow. Her species had evolved on a quiet world, one where danger was rare and emotions were shared openly through subtle signals. In the wider galaxy, that sensitivity had become a weakness. Every sharp sound made her flinch. Every sudden movement sent warnings through her nervous system. She could feel the intent of others like pressure against her skin. Predatory species made her vision blur. Aggressive ones made her heart race until it hurt. She had been part of a diplomatic group, sent to observe and learn. That mission had ended badly. Words had been misunderstood. Tempers had risen. Now the delegation was scattered, security was thin, and the station was sliding toward unrest. She was alone. Her long fingers tightened around the small case she carried, the last piece of home she had left. She tried to calm herself the way she had been trained. Slow breaths. Focus inward, but the station would not let her rest. Voices overlapped. Heavy feet struck metal floors. Somewhere nearby, something crashed, followed by angry shouts. Fear built inside her, fast and sharp. She began to back away, searching for a quiet corner. But the crowd shifted suddenly. Two large figures pushed past her, their armored bodies brushing her shoulder. The contact sent a surge of panic through her. Her legs weakened, her vision narrowed. This was how it happened, she thought distantly. This was how her people failed out here. Not through violence, but through overload. She did not notice the human at first. He stood near the wall, still and watchful. Compared to many species on the station, he was unimpressive. No thick armor plates, no claws, no towering height. Just a human in simple station gear, boots planted firmly, eyes scanning the corridor. When the crowd surged again, she stumbled. Her case slipped from her grasp and struck the floor with a dull sound. That was when she froze completely, her mind locking as fear took full control. A shadow moved. The human stepped forward. He did not rush. He did not shout. He moved with calm purpose, placing himself between her and the flow of bodies. One arm extended slightly, not touching her, but creating space. His stance widened, balanced, ready. The crowd adjusted around him without realizing why. Humans were good at that, at shaping movement without force. Those who came too close met his eyes and looked away, sensing something steady and unyielding there. She felt it immediately. The pressure eased. Her heart was still racing, but the sharp edge of panic dulled. The noise faded slightly, as if someone had lowered the volume of the universe. She looked up at him, her eyes wide, searching for threat. There was none. His face was focused, serious, but not aggressive. He did not bare teeth or flare his body. He did not demand her attention. He simply stood there, solid and unmoving, like an anchor in a storm. "Take your time," he said quietly, his voice low and even. He spoke in trade common, his accent rough but clear. "You're okay." The words themselves should not have mattered. Many had told her similar things before, but from him, they carried weight. His tone was not empty reassurance. It was a statement of intent. "You are safe because I am here." She bent slowly and picked up her case. Her hands were shaking, but she did not drop it again. She straightened, still close to him, unsure why she had not moved away. Another loud noise echoed down the corridor. A group of armed mercenaries appeared at the far end, pushing through the crowd with little care. Fear rippled outward like a wave. The human shifted instantly. He stepped half a pace closer to her, placing his body fully between her and the approaching figures. His shoulders squared. His breathing slowed. Whatever fear he felt, he contained it, locked behind discipline and choice. She sensed danger from the mercenaries like a physical force. But when she focused on the human, the fear did not overwhelm her. It pressed against him instead, like wind against stone. Why? She wondered, confused. Humans were not known for psychic shielding or emotional dampening. They had no natural defenses like hers. And yet, standing near him, her mind could rest. The mercenaries passed without incident, their attention drawn elsewhere. Tension lingered, but the immediate threat faded. Only then did the human glance down at her. "You hurt?" he asked. She shook her head slowly. Speaking felt difficult, like pushing words through thick air. "No," she said softly. Thank you." He nodded once, accepting the thanks without pride. "Station's getting rough," he said. "You shouldn't be standing alone." "I was not meant to be alone," she replied. Circumstances changed. He studied her briefly, not in the way predators did, but like a problem to be solved. "You got somewhere safe to go?" She hesitated. The truth was simple and frightening. No. For a moment, she feared he would step away, that he had done his duty and would now return to whatever human purpose had brought him here. Instead, he gestured toward the wall behind him. "You can stay here for now. Less traffic. I'll keep an eye out." The words were casual, the meaning was not. She moved without thinking, stepping closer, aligning herself with the space he had created. The relief was immediate and surprising in its strength. Her breathing slowed fully now. The shaking stopped. She felt calm, not safe in the absolute sense. The station was still dangerous, but calm in a way she had not felt since leaving her homeworld. Time passed strangely after that. The corridor remained tense. Security teams moved through. Voices rose and fell. Through it all, the human remained beside her, a constant presence. She watched him from the corner of her eye. He noticed everything. Every shift in the crowd. Every change in sound. His posture adjusted subtly, always placing himself between her and potential danger. He did not touch her, did not crowd her space, but never drifted far enough to break the sense of protection. She realized something then that unsettled her more than fear. He was choosing this. Humans were not bound by instinct to protect her species. There was no treaty forcing him to stand here. No command had been given. He stayed because he decided to. In her culture, protection was communal and expected. Here, it was personal. A sharp shout rang out nearby. Someone screamed. Weapons were drawn further down the corridor. Panic surged again, but this time it did not take her. She focused on the human's back, on the steady rise and fall of his breathing, on the certainty in his stance. Her fear hit him first. That made no sense, and yet it felt true. If danger came, it would have to go through him to reach her. And somehow, she believed it would fail. The station lights flickered. An announcement crackled over the speakers, warning of restricted movement and advising all non-combatants to seek shelter. The human exhaled slowly. "Yeah," he muttered. "That figures." He turned slightly toward her. "Listen," he said, still calm. "Things might get worse before they get better. If you stay with me, I won't let anyone hurt you. Can't promise perfect, but I won't run." Her chest tightened, not with fear, but with something warmer and unfamiliar. "Trust." She inclined her head, a gesture of deep respect among her people. A small, surprised smile touched his face. "Yeah," he said, "I do." As alarms began to sound in distant sections of the station, she stood beside a human, and for the first time in the vast and hostile galaxy, the noise did not break her. The universe was still dangerous, but right here, next to him, it was quiet. The alarms continued to echo through the station, not loud enough to cause panic by themselves, but constant enough to keep everyone on edge. Red warning lights pulsed along the corridor walls, painting everything in sharp shadows. The flow of people thinned as security locked down sections one by one. She stayed close to the human, matching his pace as he moved them away from the main transit path. He chose routes with fewer crowds, places where walls were solid and lines of sight were clear. He never explained his choices, but each one made sense. She began to notice a pattern. Humans planned for danger the way others reacted to it. They reached a junction where several corridors met. The human paused, listening. His head tilted slightly, eyes unfocused for a moment, as he took in distant sounds. "Fighting 2 levels down," he said quietly. "Security teams, not pirates." "That's good." She looked at him, surprised. "You can tell?" "Yeah," he replied. "Different rhythm. Trained people move different." She did not fully understand, but she believed him. They took shelter near a closed service alcove. The human stood in front of it, giving her the space behind him. He leaned one shoulder against the wall, relaxed in appearance but ready in truth. She felt her awareness stretch outward again, testing the emotional currents around them. Fear was everywhere, thick and messy. Anger too, but around the human, there was a strange gap, like a calm pocket in rough water. She studied him more closely now. His face showed fatigue, small lines around the eyes that spoke of long days and longer nights. There were scars on his hands, pale and old. He had lived through violence before. That knowledge settled on her gently, without terror. "You are a protector by role?" she asked. He shook his head. "Security consultant," he said. "Temporary contract. Mostly observation." "That seems insufficient," she said, meaning the words, honestly. A soft sound escaped him, almost a laugh. "Yeah. People say that a lot." Silence followed, comfortable in a way she did not expect. In her experience, silence with strangers was dangerous. It meant uncertainty. But with him, it felt earned. She realized something else then. He had not asked her species, not her status, not what value she held. Others always did. "You have not asked who I am," she said. He glanced at her briefly. "You want me to?" "No," she answered quickly, then paused. "I am only observing." "Same," he replied. More movement echoed down the corridor. A group of station enforcers rushed past, weapons ready. One of them glanced at the human, recognition flickering briefly, then nodded. The human returned the nod. "You are known," she observed. "Known enough," he said. "Humans stick out. Because of your reputation?" "That too," he said. "But mostly because we're new." Her curiosity grew. "Your species is feared," she said carefully. "Yet you are not strong like others. Not fast. Not armored." He looked thoughtful. "We're stubborn," he said finally. "And we don't quit easy." The words stayed with her. A sudden tremor ran through the floor. She gasped, instinctively reaching out. Her hand stopped just short of touching his arm. She pulled it back, embarrassed. He noticed anyway. "It's okay," he said. Station took a hit. Probably localized. She nodded. But her fear spiked again. Sharp and sudden. Images flooded her mind. Possibilities of collapse. Of being trapped. Her breathing quickened. The human shifted closer, not blocking her, just aligning with her again. "Hey," he said quietly. "Breathe with me." He inhaled slowly, deliberately, exhaled the same way. She followed. Once. Twice. The panic eased. She stared at him, astonished. "You are controlling my fear." He shook his head. "No," he said. "You are. I'm just giving you a rhythm." That was different from anything she had known. Among her people, fear was shared and absorbed by the group. Here, he was not taking it away. He was showing her how to carry it. A new sound cut through the air. Heavy boots. Not security. The human's posture changed instantly. His muscles tensed, weight shifting forward. He raised one hand slightly, signaling her to stay still. 3 figures emerged from the corridor ahead. Tall, broad, armored in dark plates. Their eyes fixed on her almost immediately. Predators. Her instincts screamed. She felt their intent like claws scraping her mind. They were not here for random violence. They had a purpose. One of them smiled, a sharp, humorless expression. "There you are," it said in broken trade common. Important guests cause trouble. The human stepped fully in front of her now, blocking their view. "Move along," he said calmly. "Restricted area." The predators laughed. "You are alone, human," the leader said, "and she is valuable." The human did not raise his voice. "You don't want this problem." She could feel his fear now, deep and real. But it was contained, shaped into focus instead of panic. That terrified the predators more than aggression would have. "Step aside," the leader said, irritation creeping in. "No," the human replied. The word was simple. Absolute. The moment stretched thin. She knew how this usually ended. Someone asserted dominance. Someone broke. Violence followed. But humans, she was learning, did not follow usual patterns. Before the predators could act, the human tapped a control on his wrist. A sharp tone echoed through the corridor. Security doors slammed shut behind the predators. Station enforcers poured in from the sides, weapons raised. The predators cursed and reached for their own arms. But it was too late. They were surrounded. The human did not move until the threat was fully neutralized. Only then did he relax slightly, exhaling slowly. She stared at him, stunned. "You planned that," she said. He shrugged. "Contingency. Humans like those." As the predators were dragged away, she felt her legs weaken. The delayed fear hit her all at once. The human turned immediately, steadying her without gripping too hard, just enough to keep her upright. "I'm sorry," she said, voice trembling. "I am not strong." He shook his head firmly. "You held together. That's strength." She searched his face for pity and found none. Only honesty. They moved again after that, guided by station security to a temporary safe zone. The room was large, reinforced, filled with beings from many species. Fear hung heavy, but order was returning. As they entered, conversations quieted. Eyes turned toward the human, then to her. Whispers followed. "Human. They're with a human. Is she under protection?" She felt exposed again, but the human stayed beside her, his presence like a shield. A senior station official approached, tension clear in their posture. "You," they said to the human. "We appreciate your assistance. You are cleared to move freely." They glanced at her. "The alien delegate will be escorted separately." The human did not respond immediately. She felt a sudden cold fear. Separation. "No," he said simply. The official frowned. "She will be safe with us." "She's safe with me," the human replied. The room fell quiet. The official hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Very well. Temporary exception." As they walked deeper into the safe zone, she looked at the human, her mind racing. "You defied authority for me," she said. He shrugged again. Didn't feel right otherwise. That answer settled something inside her. She understood then that humans did not protect because of rank or law alone. They protected because of choice. Because once they decided someone mattered, they did not easily let go. She stood beside him as the station slowly stabilized. Around them, fear softened into exhaustion. Hope flickered. For the first time, she felt something new. Not just calm, belonging. And as she remained close to the human, she realized the galaxy had made a mistake about his species. They had thought humans were dangerous because of their strength. They were wrong. Humans were dangerous because once they stood beside someone, they did not move. The safe zone did not feel truly safe for long. At first, the reinforced room held. Security teams sealed doors. Medical staff moved among the injured. Voices stayed low, tired but hopeful. The alien woman remained close to the human, sitting where he chose, near a wall with a clear view of every entrance. She had learned to trust his instincts. He stood most of the time, arms relaxed at his sides, eyes always moving. He looked calm, but she could feel the tension in him now, deeper than before. This was not passing danger. This was something building. She reached outward with her senses. Fear was still present, but underneath it was something new. Anticipation. The sharp, focused kind that came before large violence. "They are not done," she said quietly. The human glanced down at her. "No," he agreed. "They're testing." Before she could ask what that meant, the lights flickered again. This time, they did not return to normal. Half the room dropped into shadow as emergency power engaged. A low boom echoed through the station, distant but heavy. Screams followed, carried through ventilation shafts. The safe zone doors shook. Security teams raised weapons. Orders were shouted. The room's fragile calm shattered. The alien woman's fear surged hard, fast enough to steal her breath. Her hands trembled, claws digging into her palms. Every instinct told her to run, to hide, to disappear. The human stepped closer. "Eyes on me," he said, firm but controlled. She forced herself to look at him. "Whatever happens," he continued, "stay behind me. If I move, you move. Don't think, just follow." She nodded, unable to speak. The doors buckled inward. A blast tore through the locking mechanism, sending fragments across the room. Smoke poured in, thick and stinging. Shapes moved within it. Attackers, not the same predators as before. These were organized, armored, disciplined. The first shots rang out. Security forces returned fire, energy bolts and solid rounds filling the air with heat and light. People screamed and scattered. The room became chaos in seconds. The human did not fire. Not yet. He waited, watching angles, counting movement. Then he reached to his wrist again and tapped twice. Something answered. A voice crackled softly in his ear, unheard by most. "Observer Team Green." "We see you." The alien woman caught the word team, and her eyes widened. "You are not alone," she said. "No," he replied. "Never were." From the far side of the room, a section of wall slid open. Humans poured through, moving fast and clean. They wore no heavy armor, only reinforced suits and visors, but they moved with absolute coordination. They did not shout. They did not panic. They flowed. Two took cover and laid down, suppressing fire. Another dragged injured civilians to safety. A fourth moved straight to the human side. "Contact confirmed," the newcomer said. "Multiple hostile groups, station-wide." The human nodded. "Protect civilians first. Funnel attackers away." The humans moved instantly, executing the plan as if it had already been practiced. The alien woman watched in stunned silence. Other species fought with power or rage. Humans fought with control. One attacker broke through the smoke, charging directly toward her position. Fear slammed into her so hard she nearly collapsed. The human stepped forward without hesitation. He did not roar. He did not threaten. He placed himself directly in the attacker's path. The attacker raised a weapon. A human from the side dropped the attacker with a single, precise shot. The body hit the floor hard. The alien woman stared, heart pounding. The human did not look back at the fallen enemy. His focus never left the room, never left the threats that remained. "Move," he said to her. They moved. He guided her through the chaos, always placing himself between her and danger. When shots came too close, other humans shifted to cover them. Without being told, it was as if they all knew where she was, what she meant. She was not invisible. She was protected. They reached a secondary corridor, narrower, easier to defend. The human stopped her behind a reinforced corner. "Stay," he ordered gently. "I do not want to leave you," she said, fear thick in her voice. He looked at her then, truly looked, and for a moment the battlefield faded. "I'll be right here," he said. "I promise." Then he turned and stepped back into the fight. Her fear peaked, sharp and unbearable. She reached inward, grasping for the calm she had felt beside him before. It was weaker now with distance, but not gone. She focused on the memory of his steady breathing, his certainty. The sounds of battle echoed down the corridor, explosions, shouts. The hum of station systems failing and restarting. She waited. Time stretched painfully. Then something inside her shifted. She realized she was not frozen. She was afraid. Yes. But she was aware. Thinking. Choosing. That had never happened before. A group of non-combatants huddled near her. Several species pressed together in shared terror. One of them whimpered softly. Without fully understanding why, the alien woman stepped closer to them. "It will pass," she said, her voice unsteady but present. "The humans are here." The words surprised her as much as them. Moments later, the human returned, breathing harder now, a burn mark on his sleeve. He scanned her quickly. "You okay?" She nodded. "Yes." He let out a breath he had been holding. "Good," he said. "We're pulling back." Bigger push coming. As if summoned by his words, the station shook violently. Power failed completely. Darkness swallowed everything. Screams erupted again. Emergency lights flickered on, dim and red. Through the shadows, she felt it. A massive hostile force moving toward the core of the station. Not just to loot or capture. To break it. "They mean to make an example," she said, voice tight. "To show the galaxy fear." The human's jaw tightened. "Yeah," he said. "Figured." His communicator chimed again. Observer teams reporting heavy resistance. Civilians trapped across multiple levels. The human did not hesitate. "We split," he said. "Pair up. Pull people out." The voice paused. "You sure?" "Do it," the human replied. He turned to the alien woman. "You're coming with me," he said. Relief flooded her so fast she nearly cried. They moved deeper into the station, toward danger instead of away from it. Along the way, they encountered chaos. Fires, collapsed corridors, injured beings calling for help. The humans stopped for all of them. Every time, he coordinated with other humans, marking safe paths, calling in support, guiding frightened civilians with calm words and firm direction. She followed, staying close, helping where she could. Holding hands, carrying small items. Speaking softly, she felt fear constantly, but it no longer ruled her. At one junction, they ran into a barricade of hostile forces. Too many. Too well armed. The human slowed. "This is where we hold," he said into his communicator. "Buy time." He positioned himself at the front. "You will die." One of the attackers called out. "Move aside." The human did not answer. He glanced back at her. "Stay low," he said. The attackers advanced. The humans stood. They were outnumbered, outgunned. They did not retreat. Shots filled the corridor. Smoke and sparks and pain. The alien woman pressed herself against the wall, heart racing, senses overloaded. She felt every human's fear now, sharp and burning. But beneath it was something stronger. Resolve. They were not fighting to win. They were fighting to hold, to protect. When one human fell, another stepped forward. When ammunition ran low, they adapted. They used the environment, the station itself. Time passed in brutal moments. Finally, station security reinforcements arrived from behind, flanking the attackers. The hostile line broke. Silence followed, broken only by ragged breathing. The human leaned against the wall, exhausted. Blood ran from a cut on his brow. She rushed to him, catching his arm. "You said you would not run," she said, voice shaking. He managed a tired smile. "Told you." As emergency teams flooded the corridor, the alien woman looked around at the humans, at the civilians they had saved, at the attackers lying defeated. The galaxy would see this. Not just strength, choice. She stood beside the human, no longer hiding behind him, and understood the truth, at last. Humanity did not dominate the galaxy through fear. They stood against it, and because of that, others could stand too. The battle did not end with a final explosion or a clear moment of victory. It ended slowly, in pieces. Corridors fell silent one by one. Emergency lights steadied. Fires were contained. The sounds of weapons faded, replaced by voices calling names, checking wounds, counting the living. The station was still damaged, still dangerous, but it was no longer falling apart. The alien woman stood beside the human as medical teams worked around them. His injury was treated quickly, A sealant sprayed over the cut on his brow. He barely reacted, his attention still scanning the corridor, making sure no new threats appeared. Only when the last hostile signal was confirmed gone did his shoulders finally lower. She felt it immediately. The tension that had wrapped around him like armor loosened, and with it, the heavy pressure she had been carrying began to fade. Her body trembled now, not from fear, but from release. "You are safe," she said softly, more to herself than to him. "For now," he replied. "That's usually how it works." They were guided to a larger command area near the station core. Screens lined the walls, displaying damage reports, rescue efforts, and long lists of injured and dead. Officials from multiple species argued quietly, their voices tired rather than angry. Humans stood among them, offering information, not demands. The alien woman watched how others looked at the humans now. The fear was still there, but it had changed shape. It was mixed with respect, with uncertainty, with gratitude. A senior station leader approached the human, posture stiff but respectful. "Your people prevented total collapse," they said. "The station owes humanity a great debt." The human shrugged slightly. "Just did the job." "The galaxy will hear of this," the leader continued. "Your species will be reassessed." The human gave a tired half-smile. "Yeah," he said. "That happens a lot." The official turned to the alien woman. "You will be escorted to secure diplomatic quarters. You will be protected." She felt the words hit her like cold air. Separated, her eyes moved to the human without thinking. He noticed. "You don't have to go right now," he said calmly. The official hesitated. "It would be safer." "She's safe," the human replied. "She decides." All eyes turned to her. For a moment, the weight of that choice felt heavier than any danger she had faced. Her people were not used to this kind of freedom. Decisions were shared. Paths were guided. But here, now, she understood something important. Safety was not a place. It was a presence. "I will go later," she said clearly. "I wish to remain here." No one argued. Hours passed. The station slowly stabilized. Power returned to most sections. Rescue crews reached trapped civilians. The worst was over. The human finally sat down, exhaustion catching up to him. She sat nearby, not touching, just close enough to feel that quiet calm again. "You could leave," she said after a long silence. "Your duty here is finished." He nodded. "But not yet," she added. He looked at her. "No," he said. "Not yet." They watched the screens together. Footage replayed from security feeds. Humans pulling civilians from wreckage, standing in doorways, holding lines. The alien woman saw herself briefly in one recording, small and shaking behind the human during the first attack. She barely recognized that version of herself. "I was weak," she said quietly. The human shook his head. "You were scared," he corrected. "Big difference." She considered that. "I did not collapse," she said slowly. "I did not flee." "No," he agreed. "You didn't." She turned to him fully. "I learned something beside you." He raised an eyebrow. "Yeah? Fear does not disappear," she said. "It changes shape when shared." He smiled faintly. "Sounds about right." Later, when the station leadership formally offered her permanent protection, relocation to a core world, and political status, she listened carefully. Then she declined. Gasps followed. Confusion. Objections. "Why?" one official asked. "You would be secure," she answered honestly. Security is not the same as safety. They did not fully understand, but they accepted her decision. She requested temporary attachment to the human contingent until travel was arranged. After a moment of discussion, it was granted. When the officials left, she felt a strange lightness. "You chose us," the human said, not accusing, just surprised. "I chose myself," she replied. "You simply showed me how." They moved to a quieter observation deck later, where stars stretched endlessly beyond reinforced glass. The station drifted slowly. Scarred, but alive, other humans passed by, nodding to her now, some offering small smiles. She returned them, feeling something unfamiliar, but welcome. Recognition. The human leaned against the railing, staring out into space. "Galaxy's gonna talk about this for a while," he said. "Yes," she agreed. "They will say humans are dangerous." He snorted softly. "They already do. They will say it differently now," she said. "They will say humans are dangerous because they refuse to abandon others." He looked at her then, really looked, and something in his expression softened. "That's not a bad reputation," he said. She stood beside him, no longer hiding, no longer trembling. The stars felt less distant now, the universe less loud. A message came through his communicator. Orders, transport schedules, the future calling. He listened, then turned to her. "We'll be leaving in a few cycles," he said. "You'll have options." "I know," she replied. She paused, then added, "Will you stand beside me until then?" He did not hesitate. "Yeah," he said. "I will." That was enough. The station continued its slow recovery. News spread across systems. Stories grew larger with each telling. But the truth remained simple. When fear came, humans did not run. They stood. And when they stood, others found the strength to stand too. The alien woman remained beside the human, as ships departed and arrived, as officials came and went. As the galaxy began to shift its understanding, she no longer needed him to block danger for her, but she still chose to stand with him. Because calm was not silence. Safety was not walls. Safety was trust. And in a universe filled with fear, she had found it not in power, not in promises, but beside a human who stayed.